How to train your brain for success and prosperity with simple actions. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract success and prosperity so effortlessly, while others keep struggling no matter how hard they try? It's not luck, destiny, or privilege. It's training. Training the mind, the most powerful tool you already possess, to work for you, not against you. You see, your brain was never designed to make you rich, confident, or fulfilled. It was designed to keep you safe, to protect you from risk, to repeat what's familiar, even if what's familiar is scarcity, doubt, or limitation. But here's the truth most people never realize. You can reprogram that system. You can train your brain to think, feel, and act like a person who naturally attracts success and prosperity, not through complicated theories, but through simple daily actions that reshape your inner world until abundance becomes your new normal. So today, I want to guide you through a journey, not of fantasy, but of mastery. You'll learn how to train your brain for success and prosperity with actions so simple, yet so powerful, that your subconscious will start shifting almost immediately. No fluff, no mysticism, just clear science, timeless wisdom, and modern clarity. Let's start. Topic 1. The hidden code inside your brain. The moment you wake up in the morning, your brain starts running thousands of programs, automatic habits, thoughts, and emotional reactions built over years of repetition. Most people don't realize it, but these invisible programs determine almost everything. How you feel about money, how confident you are when you speak, whether you take action or stay stuck, whether you expect abundance or expect things to go wrong. You're not lazy, unmotivated, or unlucky. You're simply following the code your brain has been trained to run. Think of your brain as the ultimate operating system. If the code says, "I can't," the system blocks every opportunity that could lead to success. If the code says, "I can," it begins filtering reality to show you paths that match that belief. This is not just philosophy, it's neuroscience. The brain's reticular activating system, your RAS, acts like a gatekeeper, filtering what information reaches your conscious mind. Whatever you focus on becomes the dominant signal it looks for. So if you constantly focus on problems, your RAS will keep finding more of them. But if you focus on possibilities, on growth, on abundance, suddenly your brain begins to highlight opportunities that were always there. You just couldn't see them before. Training your brain for success begins with awareness, noticing what kind of thoughts dominate your day. Do you spend more time imagining failure than visualizing success? Do you replay past disappointments instead of rehearsing future victories? The brain doesn't care which movie you play. It just believes it's real. That's why visualization is so powerful. When you see yourself succeeding, your brain fires the same neurons as if you were actually living that success. It begins to build neural pathways that make confidence, clarity, and prosperity feel natural. But here's the catch. Most people visualize once, then return to their old patterns. The brain needs consistency. Just like you can't go to the gym once and expect to transform your body, you can't think one positive thought and expect to transform your life. You must train daily. Small, simple repetitions that shift your brain's chemistry from fear to faith, from scarcity to abundance. Over time, those new neural connections become your default wiring. The science behind this is extraordinary. Studies in neuroplasticity show that the brain can literally rewire itself, no matter your age, background, or past failures. When you practice gratitude, positive focus, and mental rehearsal, you strengthen areas of the brain associated with motivation and decision-making. At the same time, you weaken the circuits of doubt and procrastination. It's like upgrading your internal software, deleting old fear-based programs and installing new success algorithms. And yet, it all begins with one powerful decision: to stop being the victim of your thoughts and start being their architect. To stop saying, "That's just how I am," and start saying, "That's how I was, but I'm reprogramming now." Mate, every time you catch yourself thinking small and replace that thought with an empowering one, you're literally changing the physical structure of your brain. You're building a new identity, one that expects abundance instead of chasing it. Let me ask you something. How often do you truly listen to the words you say to yourself? Because those words are shaping your future. I'm not good with money. I'm not lucky. I never have enough time. These aren't harmless phrases. They are commands your brain obeys. When you repeat them, your subconscious starts scanning for proof to make them true. But when you say, "Money flows easily to me, I'm capable, I always find a way," your brain shifts into alignment with those possibilities. This is why affirmations, when done with emotion and repetition, actually work. They don't magically summon wealth. They train your neural networks to expect it, to feel worthy of it, to take the kind of bold action that leads to it. You begin to embody success instead of chasing it. You act differently. You speak differently. You walk into rooms differently. People feel that energy, and life mirrors it back to you. Here's the secret. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is the sum of what you've trained your brain to believe about you. The moment you start rewriting that code, catching every self-doubt, replacing it with self-trust, turning fear into faith, you begin to see the shift. The world outside starts reflecting the world inside. Opportunities, synchronicities, even people begin aligning with your new vibration. It's not magic, it's alignment through awareness. So today, right now, start noticing the hidden code inside your mind. Ask yourself, what story have I been repeating? Is it a story of lack or a story of power? Then rewrite it consciously. That's how you begin the journey of training your brain for success and prosperity. One thought at a time, one decision at a time, until success becomes your natural state of being. Topic 2. Rewiring your mind through repetition and emotion. Your brain doesn't change through knowledge alone. It changes through repetition and emotion. You can read 1,000 books about success and still stay stuck. You can listen to every motivational video ever made and still feel blocked. Why? Because information doesn't rewire your brain. Experience does. Your subconscious mind only learns through what you feel and what you repeat. That's the secret most people miss. Every single thought you repeat becomes a neural pathway. Imagine carving a trail through a forest. The first time you walk that path, it's difficult. Branches everywhere, roots in the way, unfamiliar territory. But the more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. Eventually, it becomes a road, then a highway. That's how your thoughts work. Whatever you repeat, fear, confidence, doubt, gratitude, your brain will make it easier to think next time. That's why people who always focus on problems seem to find more of them. They've built a mental highway that leads straight to stress and scarcity. But you can build a new road, one that leads to abundance, confidence, and prosperity through repetition and emotion. Neuroscience proves that repetition builds the brain's wiring, but emotion gives it power. When you combine a strong feeling with a new thought, you supercharge that neural connection. The brain releases chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, reinforcing the pattern. That's why gratitude practices and emotional visualization are so effective. When you feel the gratitude for something before it even happens, you're training your brain to expect good things. You're sending a signal to your subconscious that abundance is safe, familiar, and real. But here's what many get wrong. They practice mechanically. They say affirmations without feeling. They visualize their dream life like it's a distant fantasy. The subconscious doesn't respond to words. It responds to emotionally charged experience. If you say, "I am successful," while feeling doubt, your brain believes the doubt, not the affirmation. But if you close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine that success as if it's happening now, your voice confident, your posture powerful, your heart full of gratitude, then your brain begins to accept that image as reality. And once your brain believes, everything else follows. Belief changes perception. Perception changes action. Action changes results. That's how manifestation truly works. Not through wishing, but through neurological conditioning. You're teaching your brain that success is your new normal. And when something feels normal, the brain stops resisting it. Let's make this practical. Suppose you want to build wealth. If you constantly feel fear around money, fear of losing it, fear of not having enough, your brain links money with stress. It then unconsciously pushes away opportunities that could lead to more. You might procrastinate, self-sabotage, or overlook new possibilities because your subconscious thinks money causes pain. But when you start associating wealth with peace, gratitude, and contribution, your brain begins seeking ways to create it. The same energy that once pushed money away now attracts it. Repetition is the key. Every time you choose to focus on abundance instead of lack, you're reprogramming the system. Every time you practice gratitude instead of worry, you're changing your brain chemistry. Every time you visualize yourself thriving instead of surviving, you're teaching your nervous system that success is safe. And when success feels safe, your actions align. You take bold steps. You trust your intuition. You become magnetic to prosperity. One of the most powerful exercises I recommend is this. Every morning, before touching your phone, spend just 2 minutes visualizing your ideal day. Not someday, but today. Feel the confidence in your body. Hear your own voice speaking with certainty. See yourself solving problems with calm, moving through opportunities with joy. The brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and experience. It just records the emotion. That emotional rehearsal sets your vibration for the day. It's not wishful thinking, it's mental conditioning. Now, combine that with gratitude at night. Before you sleep, list 3 things that went well, no matter how small. Feel the appreciation deeply. This simple ritual does more than make you feel good. It strengthens neural circuits of optimism and motivation. It reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases serotonin, the confidence molecule. Over time, you start waking up more inspired, calmer, more in tune with possibility. That's how prosperity consciousness grows, quietly, consistently, beneath the surface. Think about it. The people who seem effortlessly successful aren't necessarily smarter. They've just trained their minds differently. They've built emotional associations with success that feel natural. Their default state isn't anxiety, it's expectancy. They expect things to go well. They expect to find solutions. And because their brains are trained that way, they do. Here's another secret. Repetition doesn't have to take hours. It's not about how long you practice. It's about how frequently you do it. A few seconds of genuine emotional alignment repeated throughout the day is far more powerful than an hour of forced positivity. When you catch yourself slipping into doubt, pause, take a breath, redirect your focus to what's working, to what's possible. Each redirection is a micro reprogramming moment. Those small moments add up to massive transformation. The more you practice, the faster your subconscious accepts the new identity. At first, you may feel resistance, your old programming fighting to survive. That's normal. Your brain is trying to protect its old comfort zone. But if you stay consistent, something miraculous happens. The resistance fades, and the new patterns begin running automatically. You wake up one day realizing you no longer need to force yourself to think positively. It just happens. You no longer chase abundance. It flows to you because your frequency matches it. And remember, the process is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before the world taught you limitation. Success and prosperity aren't foreign. They are your natural state when your mind is aligned with truth. You were born abundant. You've just been trained to forget. Repetition and emotion are the tools to remember. So, ask yourself right now, what am I repeating daily? Is it thoughts of fear or thoughts of faith? Am I rehearsing my limitations or my potential? Because every repetition, whether conscious or not, is shaping your destiny. You have the power to choose new patterns, to flood your brain with gratitude, possibility, and joy, until those vibrations become automatic. When you master repetition and emotion, you become unstoppable. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop waiting for motivation and start living in inspiration. You no longer try to manifest success. You embody it. And from that state, prosperity is not something you chase. It's something you naturally attract because your brain, your body, and your energy are finally speaking the same language. Abundance. Topic 3. The power of daily focus. Directing your mind toward prosperity. If there's one secret that separates those who live in constant growth from those who stay stuck in cycles of struggle, it's focus. What you focus on expands. It's that simple and that powerful. Your mind is like a lens, and whatever you point it at, you magnify. Focus is not just a mental concept, it's a neurological command. Every time you direct your attention towards something, whether it's a problem or a possibility, your brain builds a stronger connection around it. That's why people who constantly talk about what's wrong keep finding more things to fix. Their focus is feeding the frequency of lack. But those who focus on solutions, gratitude, and opportunity naturally magnetize abundance. Here's the truth. Your attention is your currency. Wherever you spend it, you're making an investment. So ask yourself, where are you investing your focus every day? Into worries, complaints, and what you don't have, or into vision, growth, and what you're creating? The brain doesn't distinguish between positive or negative focus. It simply amplifies what's consistent. If you keep replaying scarcity, your subconscious will keep reinforcing it. But if you train yourself to focus on success, to look for reasons to believe, to expect progress instead of disappointment, your entire neural chemistry begins to align with prosperity. Focus is not just about discipline, it's about direction. Every thought you think is a signal sent to the universe, to your subconscious, to the field of infinite potential. When your mind is scattered, jumping from fear to distraction to comparison, your energy becomes diffused. Nothing gains power because nothing gets your full attention. But when you focus, really focus, your energy becomes concentrated, sharp, magnetic. That's when you start to notice coincidences, the right people appearing, the right opportunities aligning, ideas flowing effortlessly. It's not luck, it's the physics of focus. The human brain loves clarity. When you give it a clear target, it starts filtering reality to help you reach it. That's the job of the Reticular Activating System again, the RAS, your internal search engine. Tell it what you want, and it starts finding it everywhere. But most people give their brain vague instructions. I want to be happier. I want more money. I want success. The brain doesn't know what to do with that. It needs precision. When you say, I am creating a successful business that inspires people, or I am building a life of peace, wealth, and joy, your brain gets specific. It starts noticing patterns, resources, and chances that match that intention. Focus sharpens your vibration. When you focus on abundance, you're literally tuning your frequency to match prosperity. That's not a poetic metaphor. It's neuroscience and energy combined. Every emotion you feel emits a measurable frequency. Gratitude, joy, and confidence operate at high frequencies that attract similar energy. Fear, resentment, and lack operate at lower frequencies that block opportunities. When you maintain daily focus on what's working, what's beautiful, what's possible, your entire electromagnetic field shifts. You begin radiating the energy of abundance, and the universe responds in kind. But here's the challenge. Our world is designed to steal your focus. Every notification, every news headline, every comparison on social media is a test of mental mastery. Your attention is constantly being auctioned off, and the highest bidder is usually fear. Fear sells. Fear captures attention, and if you're not intentional, fear will become your default focus. You'll start reacting instead of creating, consuming instead of building, comparing instead of evolving. That's why training your brain for success requires daily focus rituals. Simple, repeatable actions that reclaim your mental energy and redirect it toward prosperity. Start your day by deciding your dominant emotion. Before you even get out of bed, ask yourself, how do I want to feel today? Confident? Grateful? Peaceful? The moment you choose that state, your brain starts wiring itself around it. Then, throughout the day, protect that focus like it's gold, because it is. When distractions come, and they always will, pause and breathe. Ask, is this thought, this conversation, this worry helping me move toward success or pulling me away from it? That single question is mental self-leadership. It trains your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, to override the emotional reactions of the amygdala. Each time you do it, you strengthen the circuits of clarity, patience, and discipline, the very qualities that build long-term prosperity. Here's something fascinating. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. Multitasking is a myth. What you call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, and it drains your energy, increases mistakes, and weakens memory. That's why the most successful people guard their focus with obsession. They know every interruption costs them momentum. They set boundaries, create intentional routines, and say no more often than they say yes. Because every yes to distraction is a no to your destiny. So start small. Choose one key goal each day that represents your bigger vision of success. Write it down in present tense. Throughout the day, whenever your mind drifts, bring it back to that focus. Visualize it, feel it. Ask yourself, What's one small action I can take right now that moves me closer to this? The brain learns through consistent redirection. That's how you build the muscle of focus. You'll notice something remarkable after a few weeks. Your mind begins to quiet down. The noise of worry and overthinking fades. You start operating from intuition instead of fear. You stop chasing and start attracting. Focus becomes effortless. That's the moment when you step into flow. That beautiful state where time disappears and everything just works. In flow, your brain releases a cocktail of performance chemicals: dopamine, norepinephrine, anandamide, the biochemistry of success itself. You feel unstoppable, clear, and deeply connected to your purpose. And that's the point. Focus is not restriction, it's liberation. It's the art of giving your energy a clear direction so the universe can meet you halfway. When you stop scattering your attention across distractions, you discover your true power. Your words gain weight. Your presence becomes magnetic. People feel something different around you. Certainty. The same certainty that success and prosperity always follow. So, as you move through your day, remember this truth. You become what you focus on. Focus on lack, and you'll live in scarcity. Focus on growth, and you'll live in expansion. Focus on gratitude, and you'll live in abundance. Every moment is an opportunity to choose. Every thought is a vote for the reality you want to create. The power of daily focus is the power of creation itself. You don't need to force success. You need to focus your energy so sharply that success has no choice but to find you. Train your mind to see possibility where others see problems. Train your heart to stay calm where others panic. Train your spirit to stay grateful no matter what. Because the moment you master your focus, you master your future. Topic 4. The subconscious mind. Reprogramming the hidden driver of success. If your conscious mind is the captain of the ship, your subconscious mind is the ocean beneath it. Vast, powerful, and always moving. Most people try to steer their lives using only conscious willpower, but that's like rowing a tiny boat against the current of their own programming. No matter how motivated you are, if your subconscious is wired for fear, scarcity, or self-doubt, it will quietly pull you back toward the familiar. That's why you can set big goals, make detailed plans, and still find yourself repeating the same patterns. The issue is not your effort, it's your programming. Your subconscious runs about 95% of your daily behavior. It's the invisible system that determines how much success, love, and prosperity you feel safe receiving. Safe. That's the key word. Because the subconscious doesn't care about happiness or abundance. It cares about survival. If abundance feels unfamiliar, your subconscious will sabotage it. It will create excuses, distractions, even bad luck to bring you back to what feels normal. That's why you may notice a strange resistance when things start to go well, a discomfort that whispers, "This is too good to be true." That voice is not truth, it's an outdated program. Here's the powerful part. Your subconscious can be reprogrammed, not through force, but through consistent emotional experience. You can teach your brain that prosperity is safe, that success is natural, that happiness is your baseline. Every time you pair a new, empowering thought with a calm, grateful emotion, you're rewriting your internal code. This is the art of neuroconditioning, and it's how all lasting change happens. Think of it this way. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant repeatedly, through thought, emotion, and imagination, will eventually grow into reality. If you keep planting seeds of worry, guilt, and scarcity, that's the crop you'll harvest. But if you start planting seeds of gratitude, vision, and worthiness, your life begins to reflect that. It's not instant, but it's inevitable. The brain rewires itself in response to consistent focus and feeling. Science confirms this. The process of neuroplasticity shows that new neural connections can form even in adulthood. That means no matter how long you've been stuck in negative thinking, your brain can change. Every time you visualize success and feel the emotion of already having it, you activate those new neural circuits. The more often you repeat that process, the stronger those connections become, until they replace the old ones completely. What used to feel impossible becomes automatic. This is why meditation, visualization, and affirmations are not woo-woo. They are neurological training tools. When you meditate, you quiet the analytical mind, creating a bridge to the subconscious. In that state of calm awareness, your brain becomes highly suggestible. That's when you can introduce new beliefs that bypass old resistance. When you visualize your goals during that relaxed state, your subconscious records them as real experiences. It begins to adjust your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to match that new version of you. It's also why emotions matter so much. The subconscious speaks in the language of feeling, not logic. You can't convince your subconscious with facts. You must feel the truth of what you want to believe. When you say, "I am successful," but your body feels anxious, there's a mismatch. But when you say it and genuinely feel a sense of calm confidence, even for a few seconds, you're aligning your inner world with that reality. Over time, those moments accumulate and shift your energetic baseline. Let's talk about another key aspect: childhood conditioning. Most of your core beliefs about money, success, and worth were formed before you were 7 years old, a time when your brain was operating in a theta state, highly receptive and impressionable. You absorbed messages from your environment, how your parents talked about money, how they reacted to stress, how they treated themselves. Those patterns became your subconscious truth. So if you grew up hearing, "money doesn't grow on trees," or "rich people are greedy," your subconscious linked wealth with danger or shame. And even as an adult, part of your brain still protects you from becoming one of them. But awareness changes everything. The moment you identify a limiting belief, it loses its power. You can reframe it. You can say, "That belief kept me safe once, but it's no longer serving me." Then replace it with a new truth. "Abundance allows me to contribute more. Prosperity amplifies my purpose." Repetition of that new story, paired with gratitude and self-trust, eventually overwrites the old script. The process takes patience, but it's deeply rewarding. You start noticing subtle shifts, moments when you react differently, think more positively, or attract better opportunities. That's your subconscious aligning with your conscious vision. It's no longer pulling you backward, it's propelling you forward. Here's something extraordinary. Once your subconscious accepts a belief as true, it begins rearranging your outer reality to match it. That's why people who suddenly decide they're lucky begin experiencing more synchronicities. It's not magic, it's perception. Your brain filters the world differently. You notice timing, connections, and ideas that were invisible before. What changed wasn't the world, it was your filter. Training the subconscious is like tuning an instrument. You keep adjusting until your inner frequency harmonizes with what you want. You don't force it, you align it. You nurture it daily through calm repetition, emotional connection, and gratitude. And one day, you realize something has shifted, not outside, but within. You stop chasing success. You start embodying it. When your subconscious is aligned with abundance, everything changes. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth. You stop sabotaging your progress. You begin to trust life, to relax into the flow of prosperity. Opportunities feel natural. Confidence becomes quiet and steady. You feel at home in your success because it's no longer an external goal, but an internal state. That's the real training of the mind, not forcing results, but reshaping your inner blueprint until success becomes inevitable. You are not fighting against your past programming. You are upgrading it. You are teaching your brain that prosperity is not a dream. It's your new default setting. And once that belief settles deep into your subconscious, your life starts to reflect it. Effortlessly, continuously, abundantly. Topic 5. Emotional mastery. The bridge between thought and reality. Your emotions are not obstacles to control. They are instruments to master. Every emotion you feel is a signal, a frequency, an instruction your brain and body use to decide what to create next. The problem is that most people never learn how to translate those signals. They get trapped inside them, mistaking temporary emotions for permanent identity. They say, "I'm anxious," instead of, "I'm feeling anxiety." They say, "I'm broke," instead of, "I'm experiencing scarcity." The difference may sound small, but neurologically, it's enormous. When you identify with an emotion, your brain wires that state as part of your personality. But when you observe it, you create distance, space for transformation. The path to success and prosperity runs directly through emotional mastery. You can't train your brain for abundance while your emotions are rehearsing fear. The two frequencies cancel each other out. Emotion is the fuel of manifestation. It's what turns mental intention into energetic momentum. If your emotions are aligned with your goals, you accelerate. If they're not, you sabotage yourself without realizing it. Here's the science behind it. Emotions are chemical messages created by the limbic system, triggered by your thoughts. Every thought produces a chemical signature, a mix of hormones and neurotransmitters that your body feels as mood. Think empowering thoughts long enough, and your body becomes addicted to confidence and gratitude. Think fearful thoughts repeatedly, and your body becomes addicted to stress and worry. Your nervous system doesn't choose which one to believe. It simply adapts to whatever you feed it most. This is why emotional awareness is the foundation of all prosperity work. You can't create a wealthy life from a fearful state because fear literally narrows your field of perception. The brain in fear mode stops looking for opportunity and focuses only on survival. You stop imagining, stop innovating, stop risking, the exact ingredients required for success. But when you shift your emotional state to calm, joy, or gratitude, your brain opens. Creativity ignites. You begin to notice paths and ideas that were always there but hidden behind the fog of stress. So, emotional mastery begins with observation. The next time you feel anger, anxiety, or self-doubt, pause and breathe. Don't suppress it. Study it. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to teach me? What belief is it connected to? When you bring awareness to emotion, you deactivate its automatic loop. You move from reaction to reflection. That single pause changes your chemistry. You're telling your nervous system, I'm safe. And when the body feels safe, the mind opens again. Now, let's talk about emotional transmutation, the art of turning lower emotions into higher ones. Every emotion is energy in motion. You don't have to eliminate it, you can redirect it. Anger can become determination. Fear can become awareness. Sadness can become depth. It's about recognizing that the same intensity that keeps you stuck can also propel you forward when guided consciously. The most successful people in history weren't emotionless. They were emotionally intelligent. They learned how to feel deeply without drowning. Neuroscience shows that emotions last, on average, about 90 seconds in the body, unless you keep feeding them with thought. That means the feeling of fear or frustration is not the enemy. The rumination that follows is. When you replay the story, your brain keeps releasing the same chemicals, trapping you in an endless loop. But when you allow the emotion to move through without judgment, it dissolves. What remains is clarity, and clarity is power. Let's make this practical. Each time you feel scarcity, instead of spiraling into panic, take 3 deep breaths and say, I recognize this feeling, but I choose abundance. Picture something that makes you feel grateful, even a small memory. That act immediately shifts your physiology. Your brain releases serotonin, your heart rhythm stabilizes, and your energy frequency rises. In that elevated state, any action you take, whether it's sending an email, making a call, or creating a plan, carries a different vibration. That's how you begin to align emotion with intention. Another powerful practice is emotional rehearsal. Every morning before facing the day, close your eyes and feel the emotion of already living your dream. Don't just visualize the result. Embody the feeling. What does peace feel like in your body? What does confidence feel like in your breath? When you practice those emotions daily, you condition your nervous system to expect them. Your brain starts recognizing those states as familiar and begins guiding you toward experiences that match them. That's manifestation through neurobiology. Gratitude is the ultimate emotional bridge between scarcity and prosperity. It's scientifically proven to rewire the brain's reward centers, reduce fear, and boost resilience. When you feel genuine gratitude, even for simple things, a warm coffee, a supportive friend, the ability to breathe, your body shifts into coherence. Heart and brain synchronize. In that state, you're not chasing abundance. You're already aligned with it. Life starts responding to your gratitude with more things to be grateful for. But remember, emotional mastery doesn't mean suppressing pain. It means expanding your capacity to hold both light and shadow without losing balance. There will be moments of doubt, frustration, and fear. That's part of being human. The mastery is not in avoiding them, but in not living from them. You can feel fear without becoming fearful. You can experience lack without believing in scarcity. You can witness sadness and still choose gratitude. That's emotional freedom, and it's one of the highest forms of success. As you deepen this practice, something incredible happens. You start noticing that external events no longer control your mood. The economy can fluctuate, people can criticize, plans can change, yet your inner state remains steady. That stability radiates power. It attracts respect, trust, and opportunity because people feel safe around calm energy. They sense leadership, not noise. And that's what emotional mastery ultimately gives you: freedom. Freedom from the reactive mind, from the emotional roller coaster of circumstances, from the illusion that peace depends on perfection. You become the cause, not the effect. The architect, not the victim. You lead your mind instead of being led by it. And from that centered place, success and prosperity stop being goals. They become byproducts of your state of being. So, train your emotional intelligence as seriously as your intellect. Observe your moods as messages, not judgments. Use gratitude as a daily reset. Practice emotional rehearsal until confidence and joy become your natural vibration. Because once you master your emotions, you master the creative mechanism of reality itself. You no longer hope for prosperity, you emanate it. You no longer chase success, you embody it. That's the secret bridge between thought and reality: emotion. It is the energy that brings your inner vision to life. When your emotions are elevated, your thoughts empowered, and your actions aligned, prosperity has nowhere else to go but straight to you. Topic 6. Reprogramming. Belief and identity. Becoming the person who naturally attracts success. Every result in your life, your income, your relationships, your confidence, is a reflection of your identity. Not who you think you are consciously, but who you believe yourself to be at the deepest subconscious level. You never rise above the identity your brain believes is you. You can't outperform your self-image because your brain is wired to protect consistency. If your mind has accepted that you're someone who struggles, someone who gets by, someone who's always fixing problems instead of creating miracles, it will unconsciously sabotage anything that threatens that familiar version of you. That's why true transformation is not about achieving more. It's about becoming more. Every human being lives inside an invisible structure, a self-concept formed through repetition, emotion, and experience. This self-concept is the lens through which you see reality. It determines how much abundance you think you deserve, how much happiness you allow, how much risk you take, and even how you interpret success when it arrives. Two people can face the same opportunity. One sees a door opening, the other sees a threat. The difference isn't luck or intelligence, it's identity. Neuroscience explains it simply. The brain loves what's familiar, even if it's painful. Familiar equals safe. The subconscious mind would rather maintain an identity that suffers predictably than risk an identity that thrives unpredictably. This is why people who win money and suddenly lose it, or those who succeed temporarily and then sabotage themselves, aren't cursed. They're just returning to the emotional home their brain knows. Their success exceeded their self-image. And until that identity expands, no external achievement can last. So, the question becomes, how do you reprogram your identity? How do you convince your brain that you are already the version of yourself who naturally attracts success and prosperity? The answer lies in consistent mental rehearsal, living, breathing, thinking, and feeling as that person before the outer reality confirms it. The brain doesn't differentiate between real experience and vividly imagined experience. When you mentally and emotionally rehearse a new identity, your neural circuits begin firing as if it's already true. This is the power of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change its structure and function through repetition. If you repeatedly imagine yourself as confident, abundant, disciplined, and free, those neural networks strengthen. Eventually, they become dominant, and when they do, your behavior naturally aligns with them. You no longer try to succeed, you express success. This process begins with awareness. Notice how you talk about yourself. Every sentence that begins with "I am" is a command to your subconscious. I am tired. I am not good with money. I am trying. Those are not casual phrases. They're identity affirmations. And your brain is listening. To reprogram your identity, you must start speaking in alignment with who you want to become, not who you were. I am focused. I am powerful. I am attracting prosperity easily. At first, these statements might feel like lies, but they're actually future truths. You're not lying to yourself. You're introducing your brain to its new operating system. Belief reprogramming also involves emotional alignment. You can't just think your way into a new identity. You have to feel it. When you feel what it's like to already be that person, your subconscious accepts it faster. The key is repetition with emotion. Every morning and night, spend a few minutes visualizing yourself living as the abundant version of you. Not in fantasy, but in familiarity. See it, hear it, feel it, own it. The goal is to make your new identity feel normal. When it feels normal, your brain stops resisting it. Here's an exercise that can change everything. Write down the traits of your future self. How does that version of you think, speak, decide, act, and respond to life? Then, throughout your day, ask, what would my future self do in this moment? That single question bypasses the old identity and activates the new one. You're not waiting to become that person. You're being trained by your own potential. Over time, this rewires your brain's predictive model of reality. Your decisions begin aligning with success automatically. The science behind this is profound. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning and decision-making, can project you into the future. When you repeatedly imagine a new identity, it sends signals to the basal ganglia, where habits are stored. Through repetition, those imagined behaviors become actual habits. That's why athletes, performers, and visionaries practice mental rehearsal, because the brain treats imagined experience as real. It builds the same pathways of skill, confidence, and readiness. You can do the same for success and prosperity. The key is consistency. Most people dabble in identity work for a week, then go back to their old patterns. But your brain changes through immersion, not occasional effort. You must flood your consciousness with the frequency of your future self until the old one fades from lack of attention. Whatever you stop feeding eventually dies. Stop feeding the identity of struggle. Stop rehearsing the story of not enough. Stop identifying with the past version of you who doubted, delayed, or apologized for wanting more. That person served a purpose, but now it's time to evolve. You'll know your new identity is taking root when your self-talk changes automatically. When you no longer say, I hope, but I know. When you no longer chase validation, but exude certainty. When you no longer fight for your limitations, but claim your power. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. And alignment is the most magnetic state a human can live in. Eventually, success stops feeling like something out there to achieve. It becomes something in here to express. You stop chasing external symbols of worth, the titles, the possessions, the approval, and start living from internal wholeness. Ironically, that's when the external rewards multiply, because you're no longer creating from lack. You're creating from identity, from being. Reprogramming your belief system is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you really are before the world taught you limitation. You were born believing in possibility, in joy, in abundance. That was your default identity. Every limiting belief that came later can be unlearned. Every neural pattern of fear can be rewritten. The only real question is, are you willing to live as your future self now before the evidence shows up? Because that's the moment everything changes. The mind doesn't create reality when it sees success. It creates it when it believes success. And when your belief becomes your identity, when abundance feels natural, when success feels safe, your brain, your energy, and your actions unite as one. That's when prosperity stops being a goal. It becomes your reflection. Topic 7. Consistency. Training the brain to make prosperity automatic. The truth about success and prosperity is this: it's never the result of one big change. It's the accumulation of small, consistent ones. The brain learns through repetition. The universe responds to stability. The person who practices small habits of abundance daily will outperform the one who tries to transform everything overnight. Because consistency doesn't just build results, it builds identity. It rewires your nervous system to expect success, to trust it, to live from it naturally. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence or opportunity. They fail because they're inconsistent. They meditate one day, visualize for a week, journal for a month, then stop when life gets busy. They get inspired by a new idea, practice it passionately for a while, and then fall back into old patterns when results take longer than expected. The subconscious mind reads that inconsistency as uncertainty, and uncertainty kills manifestation. When your focus, emotion, and habits keep changing direction, your brain can't stabilize the neural patterns needed to make abundance your default. Think of the brain like a muscle. It grows only through consistent stimulation. You don't go to the gym once and expect transformation. You go regularly, teaching your body to adapt, strengthen, and evolve. The same applies to your mind. Every day you train it through thoughts, emotions, and actions. The question is, are you training it toward success or toward self-doubt? Consistency builds certainty, and certainty is the foundation of prosperity. When you repeat the same empowering rituals, gratitude, visualization, intentional focus, your subconscious begins to trust those patterns. It starts recognizing them as the new normal. Eventually, you don't need to force yourself to think positively. You simply are positive. You don't have to remind yourself to believe in abundance. Belief becomes automatic. This is when prosperity stops feeling like a chase and becomes a state of being. Neuroscience reveals why this happens. Repetition strengthens neural connections through a process called myelination, the coating of neural pathways with fatty tissue that makes signals travel faster and more efficiently. Every time you practice gratitude, you're literally making the gratitude circuit stronger. Every time you visualize success, you make the success circuit more active. Over weeks and months, those new circuits outcompete the old ones wired for worry, scarcity, and self-doubt. Your mind evolves, not by chance, but by consistency. The same principle applies energetically. The universe responds not to occasional emotion, but to sustained vibration. A single day of belief followed by 6 days of doubt creates static in your signal. But when you hold the vibration of abundance consistently, through faith, gratitude, and disciplined thought, life begins to mirror that energy. That's why people who seem lucky aren't lucky at all. They're consistent vibrationally. They think abundance, speak abundance, act abundance, every single day. Consistency is what transforms knowledge into embodiment. Reading about prosperity is one thing. Living it daily is another. The bridge between the two is discipline. And discipline is not punishment. It's devotion. It's the act of showing up for your future self even when your present self doesn't feel like it. When you choose your higher vision over temporary moods, you're telling your subconscious, I am serious about this new identity. That conviction begins to rewire your belief system faster than anything else. Let's make this tangible. Every day, train your brain with simple but powerful practices. Upon waking, take 60 seconds to feel gratitude for one thing. Don't just think it, feel it. That emotion sets the tone for the day. Before sleeping, visualize one scene from your desired future, as if it's happening now. Feel the pride, the joy, the calm certainty. Between those two bookends of the day, act with awareness. When fear arises, pause and redirect. When doubt whispers, replace it with truth. When opportunity appears, act immediately. These micro-disciplines compound, silently, steadily, until your entire consciousness vibrates at a new level. The hardest part of consistency isn't starting, it's maintaining enthusiasm when the external results haven't caught up yet. That's where most people quit. They plant seeds of new thought but dig them up every few days to check if they're growing. The truly successful ones keep watering, trusting the process. They understand that invisible work precedes visible results. The brain needs time to rewire, the energy field needs time to stabilize, and the outer world needs time to reflect the new vibration. But it will, because reality always bends to sustained intention. Here's the paradox. The more consistent you are, the less effort you need over time. At first, training your brain feels deliberate. You remind yourself to be positive, to focus, to feel gratitude. But as your neural wiring shifts, it becomes automatic. Like learning to drive, what was once conscious becomes instinctive. Your subconscious starts doing the heavy lifting. You think differently without trying. You respond to challenges with calm instead of panic. You see abundance everywhere because your mind is trained to look for it. That's the moment when prosperity becomes effortless, not because life got easier, but because you became more aligned. Consistency also builds emotional resilience. When you show up for yourself every day, even when it's hard, you develop trust, the kind that can't be shaken by temporary failure. You realize success isn't a straight line but a rhythm, and you've trained yourself to dance with it. That inner stability radiates confidence. It tells the world, I'm not hoping for success, I'm becoming it. The most powerful people you know, whether spiritual teachers, entrepreneurs, or creators, all share this one trait: consistency of mind. They've trained their brains to stay aligned with their vision regardless of circumstances. Their focus doesn't break when things go wrong. Their belief doesn't waver when results are delayed. That mental steadiness becomes magnetic because the universe responds most powerfully to unwavering energy. So, if you want to train your brain for prosperity, don't look for intensity. Look for consistency. Small daily acts of belief will always outperform bursts of inspiration followed by long pauses of doubt. Success is not built in a day, but it's built every day. Each morning you choose gratitude. Each time you choose calm over chaos. Each night you choose vision over worry. You're programming your mind for abundance. Stay faithful to the process. Let time be your ally, not your enemy. The brain doesn't forget what it repeats, and the universe doesn't ignore what's consistent. Prosperity belongs to those who train their minds to show up every single day until abundance feels inevitable. Topic 8. The voice inside your head, reprogramming your inner dialogue for prosperity. If you truly want to know the quality of your future, listen to the voice inside your head, because that voice is designing it. Every word you whisper internally is an instruction to your subconscious mind, a command to the universe, and a seed planted in the soil of your identity. Most people think their inner dialogue is just random chatter, but it's not. It's the most powerful programming language in existence, the script your brain runs 24 hours a day. And the truth is simple: you cannot live a life of abundance while speaking the language of limitation. That inner voice, your self-talk, shapes your perception, decisions, and emotional chemistry. When it's filled with doubt, comparison, or criticism, your brain floods your body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. You enter survival mode, and your focus narrows to what could go wrong. But when your self-talk is filled with belief, encouragement, and gratitude, your brain releases dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, the chemistry of confidence and expansion. You begin to feel safe in success, safe in growth, safe in prosperity. And when your body feels safe, your mind opens to receive. Think about it. Your brain is always listening to you. It doesn't know the difference between truth and sarcasm, between a joke and a declaration. When you say, "I'm so unlucky, I never have enough," or "I'm not good at this," your brain takes it as literal instruction. It begins filtering your experiences to confirm those statements. That's the reticular activating system doing its job, proving your words right. The opposite is also true. When you affirm, "I always find solutions, I attract opportunities, everything is working in my favor," your RAS starts scanning reality to support that belief. Your world reshapes itself around your vocabulary. Self-talk is not wishful thinking, it's neurological conditioning. The words you repeat become the architecture of your subconscious. They set your emotional tone and your energetic frequency. Imagine your mind as a sound system. If you keep playing the same low-frequency music of fear, your body and energy start vibrating to that rhythm. But when you change the track to faith, gratitude, and possibility, you raise your internal vibration. And the universe, being perfectly tuned to frequency, responds accordingly. But here's the paradox. Most people's self-talk isn't even their own. It's borrowed. It's the echo of parents, teachers, authority figures, and experiences from childhood. You inherited voices that said, "Don't dream too big. Be realistic. You're not enough." Over time, those external opinions became your internal soundtrack. You began repeating them until they felt like your own thoughts. The good news is, they're not yours. They can be rewritten. The first step is awareness. Throughout the day, observe the tone of your inner dialogue. How do you speak to yourself when you make a mistake? When you wake up? When you look in the mirror? Is that voice kind, encouraging, and empowering, or cold, doubtful, and critical? Awareness is the first act of freedom. Because once you hear the pattern, you can interrupt it. You can ask, "Whose voice is this?" and decide whether it deserves to stay. Then, begin the reprogramming process. Replace self-criticism with conscious command. When the mind says, "I can't," respond with, "Yes, I can, and I'm learning." When it says, "This never works for me," answer, "It always works out because I'm aligned." Don't argue with negativity, outnumber it. Repetition is stronger than resistance. The more you feed your brain empowering language, the weaker the old voice becomes. Eventually, your inner dialogue transforms from an enemy into an ally. Here's something powerful to remember. Your subconscious doesn't understand negation. If you say, "I don't want to fail," it hears fail. If you say, "I don't want to be broke," it hears broke. The subconscious mind processes images and emotion, not grammar. So instead of focusing on what you don't want, affirm what you do. I'm succeeding more each day. I'm financially free. I'm calm, confident, and in flow. Speak in the direction of your desires, not your fears. You can amplify this effect through emotion. Say your affirmations not as empty words, but with feeling. Feel the certainty, the gratitude, the pride of already being that person. Your emotion is the carrier frequency that delivers the message to the subconscious. Without emotion, words are noise. With emotion, they're code. And remember, it's not about pretending everything is perfect. You're not lying to yourself. You're leading yourself. You're reminding your brain of what's possible, guiding it back to truth every time fear pulls it off course. You're teaching your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems, progress instead of perfection, potential instead of limitation. Over time, you'll notice your tone changing automatically. Where you once said, "I can't," you'll now say, "I can figure this out." Where you once said, "I never catch a break," you'll think, "Everything that happens moves me forward." That's not just optimism, that's cognitive reprogramming. Your neural pathways for success have become stronger than your old circuits of self-doubt. Your outer world will begin reflecting it. You'll start speaking differently to others, with more clarity, kindness, and confidence. You'll handle challenges with calm authority. People will sense something magnetic about your presence because inner certainty radiates outward. That's the moment your words stop being theory and start becoming creation. Science has a term for this phenomenon: self-directed neuroplasticity, the ability to consciously change your brain through thought. Every time you choose empowering self-talk, you're sculpting your neural landscape. You're wiring your brain for prosperity, one word at a time. The more you repeat positive inner language, the faster your subconscious updates its blueprint. There's a famous saying, "You become what you say after I am." Those two words, "I am," are the most creative words in the human language. Whatever follows them shapes your destiny. Say, "I am worthy," and your energy aligns with worthiness. Say, "I am abundant," and your vibration rises to match abundance. Say, "I am enough," and your subconscious begins building evidence to prove it. So, talk to yourself as the person you are becoming, not as the one you used to be. Let your inner dialogue be your most loyal ally. Fill your mind with affirmations that expand, not shrink you. Because the brain doesn't just listen to what you say, it becomes what you say. Your words are spells. Your self-talk is a script. Write it consciously, speak it consistently, and feel it deeply. Over time, your inner voice will become the sound of certainty, gratitude, and peace, and your outer world will have no choice but to match its vibration. The transformation begins within. Change your inner language, and you change your frequency. Change your frequency, and you change your life. That's how you train your brain for success and prosperity. One thought, one word, one powerful declaration at a time. Topic 9. The frequency of belief. Aligning mind and energy with prosperity. There is a silent force that shapes every outcome in your life. Belief. Not belief as in wishful thinking, but belief as in energy, expectation, vibration. What you believe about yourself, about money, about success, creates the frequency your brain and energy emit. And that frequency attracts, matches, and multiplies experiences that confirm it. This isn't magic, it's coherence, the alignment of mind, emotion, and energy vibrating together in one direction. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you believe is possible for you. Your belief is your broadcast signal. It tells life what to send back. You can affirm abundance all day, but if deep down you don't believe you deserve it, your subconscious transmits a frequency of lack. That's why people sometimes say, "I'm doing all the right things," but nothing changes. It's because belief and behavior are out of sync. The conscious mind is saying yes, but the energy is saying no. The key to prosperity is bringing them into harmony, aligning your brain's programming with your energetic vibration so they both broadcast the same message. I am ready, I am worthy, I am abundant. Neuroscience and quantum physics meet perfectly here. The brain is an electromagnetic organ. Every thought produces a measurable frequency. Every emotion carries its own vibration. When your thoughts and emotions are coherent, meaning they're moving in the same direction, you enter flow. You feel calm yet powerful, peaceful yet unstoppable. That state of coherence is when manifestation becomes effortless, because your inner signal is clear. But when you think abundance and feel fear, your energy is split. You send static into the field. So, how do you train your brain to align thought and vibration? Through awareness, emotion, and repetition. When you think about prosperity, notice how it feels in your body. Do you feel open or tense? Excited or anxious? That physical response reveals your true belief. The goal is not to force positivity, but to raise your emotional vibration until prosperity feels safe. When it feels safe, it becomes sustainable. Here's the truth. Your brain will never accept abundance as long as it feels dangerous. And for many people, it does, because deep down, success was associated with loss, judgment, or fear. That's why healing old emotional wounds is part of prosperity work. You can't move into the vibration of abundance while carrying the energy of fear. You must teach your nervous system that joy, freedom, and wealth are not threats. They are your natural state. One of the simplest yet most powerful tools for this alignment is emotional rehearsal. Close your eyes and imagine a scene that represents your prosperous life. Maybe you're walking through a home you love, feeling peace in your heart, or sharing abundance with people you care about. Don't just see it, feel it. Let your body experience the gratitude, confidence, and calm joy of that moment. That emotional charge is what imprints the belief into your subconscious. You're literally teaching your brain and body what prosperity feels like. Over time, this emotional conditioning becomes your new baseline. Your thoughts about success stop triggering anxiety and start triggering peace. That's when you know your vibration has shifted. You've moved from hoping for prosperity to expecting it. And expectation is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. The brain always finds evidence to confirm your dominant expectation. Expect failure, and you'll see obstacles. Expect success, and you'll see solutions. Expect abundance, and the universe rearranges itself to deliver it. But belief is not built in a single moment. It's trained through daily consistency. Each time you choose trust over doubt, gratitude over fear, patience over panic, you strengthen the belief circuit. You're telling your brain, "This is who I am now," and your brain listens. Through repetition, new neural pathways form, making that frequency easier to sustain. Eventually, belief stops being something you try to feel. It becomes something you are. Another important factor is your energetic environment. Energy is contagious. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, the conversations you engage in, all influence your frequency. Spend time with people who think abundance is normal, who talk about growth, who celebrate success without envy. Their energy will lift yours. Protect your mental space fiercely, because your brain absorbs vibration like a sponge. Prosperity requires energetic hygiene, keeping your frequency clear of negativity, gossip, and fear-based narratives. You can also elevate your vibration through the body. Movement, breathwork, and gratitude rituals all regulate the nervous system. When your body feels alive and balanced, your brain interprets it as a sign of safety, and safety allows expansion. The most prosperous people are not the most intense. They're the most aligned. They live in a calm confidence that says, "I don't need to chase what's mine. I'm already in harmony with it." That calm certainty is magnetic. Let's go deeper. Every belief you hold emits a specific electromagnetic pattern from your heart and brain. When you think, "I am abundant," and genuinely feel gratitude, your heart rhythm becomes coherent. That coherence sends a powerful signal into the quantum field, the invisible web connecting all energy. The more coherent the signal, the faster it returns as reality. This isn't mystical, it's measurable. HeartMath Institute research shows that heart-brain coherence influences electromagnetic energy fields around the body, affecting not only mood and focus, but even physical health. You are literally broadcasting your reality through emotion. This is why gratitude, love, and joy are the highest manifesting frequencies. They create the strongest coherence. Fear and anger, on the other hand, scatter your signal. When you live in sustained gratitude, your frequency stabilizes, your nervous system relaxes, and life begins to flow. You stop pushing and start receiving. Here's a powerful truth. Belief is not something you have, it's something you practice. It's not static, it's alive. Every thought you think is a vote for the world you want to live in. Every emotion you nurture is a vibration shaping your timeline. You're not waiting for abundance to prove your belief right. You're believing until abundance proves itself. That's how all great transformations happen. When your belief and energy are aligned, your brain, heart, and field work as one. You don't need to force success, you radiate it. You don't need to chase prosperity, you attract it. You become the frequency of what you desire, and life simply reflects it back. That's the law of coherence, the science of alignment, and the essence of the prosperity code. So, check your belief frequency daily. Ask yourself, what am I expecting right now? Problems or miracles? Then tune your mind and heart to the vibration of certainty. Because when your belief becomes your energy, and your energy becomes your language, the universe responds in the only way it can, by matching your signal with abundance, success, and flow. Topic 10. Becoming the master of your mind, the final step to lasting prosperity. Everything you've learned so far, awareness, repetition, focus, emotional mastery, belief, identity, vibration, all leads to this: mastery of the mind, not control through force, but direction through consciousness. To train your brain for success and prosperity is to awaken to your true power, the power to choose what you think, what you feel, and what you expect. Because the moment you become conscious of those choices, you stop being a prisoner of circumstance and start becoming the architect of destiny. The truth is, success doesn't begin in your bank account, your career, or your environment. It begins in your thoughts, in the inner atmosphere you create every day. You can't build an abundant life with a mind that rehearses scarcity. You can't attract joy if you're addicted to worry. Your outer world can only mirror the vibration you hold within. Once you understand that, you stop chasing outcomes and start cultivating states. You start realizing that the real work is invisible. It's the alignment between thought, emotion, and belief that silently shapes everything you see. When you train your brain to expect abundance, you begin living differently. You wake up with purpose instead of anxiety. You make decisions with clarity instead of fear. You take bold action because your nervous system has learned that growth is safe. You start radiating confidence not because you're pretending, but because you've trained your body to remember who you truly are, a being of potential, creativity, and infinite intelligence. Neuroscience confirms what the ancients already knew. The brain is plastic, the mind is programmable, and consciousness is creative. You can rewire yourself completely. The old identity built on fear and limitation can be replaced by one built on confidence and purpose. Every time you choose awareness over autopilot, gratitude over complaint, and faith over fear, you're literally sculpting your brain into a success machine. You're transforming your neural architecture from survival to creation. This is the essence of prosperity. Not luck, not privilege, but alignment. Prosperity is the natural byproduct of an inner system that works in harmony. When your thoughts are clear, your emotions are elevated, and your beliefs are empowering, life organizes itself around that energy. People call it synchronicity, opportunity, divine timing, but it's simply coherence. You are broadcasting a strong, steady signal, and the universe, in perfect precision, responds to it. But let's be honest, this isn't a one-time revelation. It's a lifelong practice. The mind will always test your focus. Life will always offer distractions. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not intelligence or education, it's awareness. The ones who rise are those who remember the truth in the middle of chaos. They don't let their emotions drive the car, they let consciousness hold the wheel. That's mastery. You reach that level not by perfection, but by practice. Every time you notice an old thought pattern and gently redirect it, you're expanding your awareness. Every time you feel fear and choose gratitude anyway, you're shifting your frequency. Every time you fall but rise with renewed intention, your brain records that resilience as strength. Eventually, success stops being something you chase. It becomes the natural rhythm of who you are. There's a moment in this journey when everything clicks. You realize the universe was never against you. Your own mind was simply untrained. You were trying to receive abundance on the wrong frequency. But now, with every repetition, every breath, every conscious thought, you've tuned the dial. You've stepped into harmony with the energy of success. And from this place, you no longer wonder if prosperity will come. You know it's already unfolding. You are no longer the seeker of abundance. You are its source. You radiate it through your confidence, your generosity, your peace. You become a living example of what happens when a human being masters their mind and aligns their energy with their vision. People start noticing something about you, a calm certainty, a light in your eyes, an ease in your voice. That's the vibration of alignment. It's not loud, but it's powerful. It doesn't shout, it attracts. So, as you move forward, remember, your mind is the command center of your reality. Guard it, train it, honor it. Feed it thoughts that empower, not weaken. Surround it with beauty, not chaos. Direct it toward gratitude, not complaint. Every day, recommit to the practice, because the most successful people on earth aren't the ones who never doubt, but the ones who never stay there. They remember the truth faster. They return to abundance sooner. And when you do that, when you live consciously, think deliberately, and act intentionally, life starts flowing in ways that defy logic. Opportunities align, ideas appear, people come into your path at the perfect time. The flow of prosperity becomes constant because your mind has become a channel clear enough to receive it. This is the real training, not to force success, but to become the kind of person who success is drawn to. Someone grounded in peace, guided by purpose, and aligned with abundance. Someone whose very presence radiates prosperity. That's what you've been training for all along, not just to change your mind, but to transform your being. So, take a deep breath. Feel the certainty in your chest. You've already begun the transformation. From this moment on, every thought, every emotion, every word becomes part of your training. Your brain is listening. Your energy is broadcasting. The universe is responding. You are no longer learning the prosperity code. You are the code. If this message resonated with you, let it become part of your daily practice. Rewatch this video whenever you need to realign with your power. Like this video if you're committed to mastering your mind. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who's ready to break their old limits. And in the comments write, "I am training my brain for prosperity." Because the moment you declare it, you activate it. And from that point on, prosperity starts recognizing you as one of its own.